Good morning, friends. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. This is Tanya at Sidegigcrafts. Guys, I'm so glad you're here today. I'm going to be playing a little bit today with the letter D. We're going to talk about die cuts, and we're going to talk about dyes, like coffee dye or ink dyes, distressed inks and things. We're going to be playing with some distressed ink. I want to talk about, what do you do if you only have one color? Just one in your stash. If you only get one, if you have to choose just one, y'all, I'm going to say not even this one. I wouldn't even go with distressed ink. I would go with, personally, distressed oxide. And the reason why, let me tell you. Distressed oxide is a lot of fun because you can do some fun things with this, with water and different things like that. It's going to have a different, and it'll bring different colors up. The inks don't play the same, but you can make this a lot of very interesting if you do. So if you can only get one, get your favorite shade of brown in an oxide. Yes, because of that, because you can do so much more. And then you can add on and add on and add on. You can get different colors. It took me a while to get the colors. I don't have all the colors. I have a lot of colors, but I don't have all the colors, and I don't think I need all the colors. I just found my favorites or ones that were on sale and thought, ooh, that would be fun to add to my collection. Don't have it yet. Let's do that. But you guys, if you can only pick one, pick a distressed oxide in your favorite color. We're going to use Vintage Photo today because that's the one I pulled out, and it's probably the one that y'all are most familiar with. So we're going to get out that one today. We're going to play with just this color. Only one color today. Okay, guys, let's try it. Let's see what happens. I got out my Sidegigcrafts. This is by Lisa Jones. These flowers. This was on sale, usually 20 bucks. I found it reduced for 5 bucks on sale a while back. I don't know if you can still get these, but it was on sale then. And this is a random one from my stash. I thought they'd be fun to play with. So that's what we're doing. I've cut them all out, so we don't have to go through that. But die cuts are a fun thing to add to your junk journal. And sometimes it can be hard to figure out how to add them into your junk journal. So let's play with some of these today and see if we can do that. I'm going to kind of separate them out. I have a picture next to me because I'm not sure how these all fit together. This is the first time I've actually cut this die. And I thought, let's play with something different. And I know I want these darker. I want my stems darker. So we're going to take those over here. We're only playing with one color today, guys. Only one. I'm challenging myself. We're not going to probably put all of these together, but I want to make a little arrangement to put on a belly band. Now, my belly band has lots of colors because I made this prior, but you could use any kind of papers for your belly band. You can see, excuse me, my voice is a little hoarse this morning. I used all kinds of different ones. These are just some different things that you can use your distress inks for. Inks and oxides. Like this stenciling is done this green, but a lot of this background is from decorative papers. So you can use those as well. And you can do the stenciling even with just one color. I wonder if I have one that's just, ooh, this one's not inked up yet. This is a little small for belly band. Let's make a tag instead. Well, it does have a little bit of stenciling on there, but we're going to pretend like that's part of the paper, okay? That's what we're going to do. And that way it looks like we're kind of still only, oh, wait a minute. Did I ink these up? Not much. I did a little bit though, but see, all these have some ink on them. They're in a brown because that makes it subtle, which is what I love about it. The brown makes it a subtle color. It makes it background without taking over the whole thing. So let's going to stick with this one because I think this is the least decorated of all of them. So we're going to get, if you have a brush, you could use a makeup brush like this one. This is the one I use for my brown colors. So it's got a little bit of different colors on there. Now I imagine this mushroom to be, I cut everything out in white, so you don't need any special papers. You just need white paper. And of course, you don't have to use die cuts. Maybe you cut out some circles, or, you know, maybe you cut something else out and you want to ink that up. Get out there, little dude. All right, so this little guy, I'd imagine his cap is going to be a different color than the base. So we're just going to add color here. And I'm imagining this is going to be darker than the base. You know, I think I'm going to use a different brush. I think I'm going to use one of my smaller ones. You can get smaller brushes too. They're from different places. And I'm going to shade this down here at the base a little bit more because it's going to be darker with the shadow, right? Because that's going to be behind the mushroom. And then we're just going to kind of go lightly around. If you start on the glass, can you guys see me? I moved my camera in a different way, so I gotta kind of peek once in a while. This is seems to be a good spot though. If you start on the glass or your background paper, you can put paper behind there. You don't have to have a glass mat. And kind of go around the edges. You'll get that just lightly around the edges. Kind of tap, tap in the middle to get a little bit of the color in there so it's not all white. And there we go. Now, this one has the insert here that I took out. You saw me take it out. Where'd it go? Is it this one? I should have kept it with it. Nope, that's too small. Where did it go? Where did it go? Is it this one? No. Where did I put it? You guys, where did I put it? Which one was it? Not those two. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, let's start over. Or we'll just take it out of this one. Excuse me. It is definitely this one because that's the same mushroom. So we'll just take this one out. I'll find the other one later. We don't need two of them anyway. All right, and then this one is going to be darker, right? So we're going to go in a bit heavier with that ink. And brush it on there. Now, maybe brown isn't your favorite color. I say start with the brown just because we tend to use brown all the time, at least in a junk journal. But some of you I know aren't grungy that way and might prefer a different color. Pick your favorite color. If I didn't do brown, I would probably go with a blue, like, I love this chipped sapphire. I love it. Or Mariner, is it Uncharted Mariner? I love that one too. Is it this one? Yeah, Uncharted Mariner is amazing. And you can do the same technique, just go lighter and to darker. Blue is also a very common color that we might need in our crafting. So you can't go wrong with a nice blue. If you love pink, do pink. Do your favorite color. Pick one that speaks to you. Florals. Maybe you do a lot of florals. Pink would be perfect. Purple. Get a pink and a purple. But if you only have to pick one, if you can only pick one at a time, go with your favorite. Just start there. That's a great way to start. And you'll be able to shade it up just like I'm doing today. Now you can see I've got 3 different tones here. I've got a super light tone, I've got a medium tone, and I've got a darker tone. And we're going to stick this right back up in here. And we have got ourselves a mushroom. Now that that is toned that way, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more shading in here just to kind of bring it together. But these are some ideas that I was having. I was like, because I've heard that a lot. It's like, I only have one color, or I can't afford more than a couple colors. What should I do? Well, you know what? You got to start somewhere. If you really want to, you got to start somewhere. Pick your favorite color. You can use different thicknesses or layers, or you can make it work for you if you want to. I'm going to go a little darker in here because of the shading that would be happening naturally. And then I'm going to go back up around here a little bit more. Do a little shading down here at the bottom, right? Just like that. And I'm going to tap, tap, tap in here too. All right, we've got ourselves a cute little mushroom, dudes. Dudes and dudettes. Sorry, I'm from California. Everybody's a dude. Please don't be offended. I try not to say that on here, but I just did, so I kind of have to explain it. I realized the other day that my boss and I talk to each other, call each other dude all the time. I'm 54 years old. I have no business calling everybody dude, but I'm from California. It just happens. All right, so originally, now I'm in Alabama, but if you're just joining me, I'm a California girl. All right, so that is going to go. See how beautiful it is? It's so cute. Okay, let's make some more different things. Okay, if we're going to make, I mean, I could do another tiny mushroom, but you already got the idea on that one. Let's try something different. How about flowers? We could do, let's see, let's do a couple of these guys. Oops, I just bent that. Is that the same one? I tried to do these all twice, so here, let's do the poppy, because I can imagine the poppy standing behind it in the garden. Do the poppy. I'm just kind of laying these out the way that I see them on the picture, and that one's going to have more of a straight stem. I don't know how botanically correct these are, but we're just going to go with it. Kind of like that. And that, see, that stem's too long. That's not the, it doesn't matter. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. We'll just go with that. And then, as I'm looking for something else completely different, it's this one, I think. No, it's not that one. It's this one. We're just going to use this one. And if it's too long, I'll tear it. I mean, it's just a little strip of paper, right? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'm imagining these much darker. You could also color your paper before you cut these out. If you know it's going to be darker, it might be easier to brush the paper and then cut them out. You want to make sure that they're dry before you do, because they might not cut right if they're wet and saturated with ink. So just kind of give it a few minutes and it'll be fine. But let's just get this really dark. Going gently over it. My goodness. I've got a giant hickory tree in my front yard, you guys, and it's just bleeding pollen right now. Just totally pouring out of that tree. And I think it, I always say I don't get allergies, but I'm pretty sure I probably do. I like to ignore it if that's the case. I don't want to admit it. I feel like if I admit it, that it's going to be worse. But every year, I kind of go through a thing, so I probably have allergies. Probably has something to do with that tree. Okay, there we go. There's that one. Now this one. This is going to be all dark too, because I think it'll be nice to have that all darkened. I keep expecting it to be a little darker because I'm used to using my my burnt timber. Why does that sound wrong today? Scorched timber. Same word, same thing. Scorched timber. I'm used to using the scorched timber. So this looks so light to me. I keep trying to make it darker. You can't change the color, but you can change the intensity. And I'm going to show you what it does when you get it wet in a little bit. We're going to do this quick first. And then I want to talk about, coffee dyed paper. You can use different, well, we can talk about that while we're doing this. For the coffee dyed papers, you'll see different colors, different, well, I can show you. This is all from the same batch, all of it. So you'll see some of this. This is a lot darker because it's sat to the edge of my paper, and it pulled the coffee up into that paper that was sitting out of it, so it got darker, and it's crunchier, it's thicker, it's crunchier. It's interesting that the papers pick up a different texture when they're dyed. This one had some lace doilies on it, some plastic lace doilies. Some of them you'll see drips in there. This one had some doily on it as well. And what I do with my papers, you'll see some drips there where it picked up from other papers as they were drying. I'm just going to tell you about it. I'm not going to show it because it's just such a process, and it's just, I don't have room to make more, but I want to talk about it because we're talking about the letter D and things that go in junk journaling. Let's start with the letter D. For the coffee dyeing though, I use instant coffee, and I get a big deep pan, and I layer my papers in there. You have to take them apart or they're really going to stick, and you're going to have a hard time getting them apart as they're drying. In this method anyway. And I know there's other methods too. This isn't necessarily the right one or the only one, but it works for me, and this is what I've been doing, and it's working well for me, and I can get quite a bit done at once. So what I do is kind of stagger them in the pan full of hot coffee. It doesn't have to be boiling. It's going to cool down pretty quick, but you want it to be hot so it'll open up those wood fibers in the paper, and so that they'll accept that coffee into it. I'm leaving the middle kind of light colored here. I do want it to be brown, but not as dark as the edges. So keep that, make sure your coffee is really hot. You can warm it up in the microwave or however you heat your water. I use instant coffee. I got some for super cheap years ago. I think you can get a little jar of it at the dollar store. I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive. Don't use expensive coffee. That would just be silly and wasteful. And then I pour that, as I stagger the papers, I pour that, make sure they're all wet. Every single page has to be wet, or you'll get air gaps in there and they won't dye. They won't take the color if it's not touching the coffee. I'm looking for the center of this flower. I think this is it. Pretty sure that's it. So we're gonna make this one pretty dark too. And then I let it sit overnight or so, and then I pour off as much of the coffee as I can. And then I start taking out the pages individually, carefully, because you don't want to tear them. Individually peel them out and then lay them out to dry under the ceiling fan. This method is working for me. It takes a while. It depends on how many papers you put in there, of course. I stack mine pretty thick, so it takes me several days, which is why I really don't want to start another batch, because I'm still in the middle of the last batch. But as you get through it, it gets, you know, they start drying faster and faster. So that works out pretty well. But yeah, that's how I do it. And I don't use the oven. You can, but when I've used the oven, I don't know if this line has to, okay. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to line up a certain way or not. I don't see marks on there, so we'll just put it in the middle. You can use the oven, but then I would have to be home for that, and that's just not going to happen. And I've scorched too many papers that way. I don't like to use the oven. I just set them out. I don't usually do it when I'm in a time crunch, so I'm not in any big hurry to get them out. But isn't that beautiful? It's just, you know, simple flower. I love this. Okay, so this goes this way. So we're going to put this one, I'm just going to stack these here. This one, we'll probably cut the end of that stem because it probably doesn't need to be that long. Put this one in here. Put the little mushroom there because I think he needs to be in this garden. I think that's cute. And I'll move those more when I start gluing. Let's put in some filler behind there. How about one like this? Okay, now we don't necessarily want to go as dark as the other ones because we need some variety here, right? But we can add dark in to help to give it interest and levels and shading and stuff. So we'll just kind of go in here. You could also potentially use your dyes as watercolor. You can smush your ink pad onto the glass mat if you have one, or on a plate or something like that. And then spray some water in there and use it as a watercolor. That works. Done that before. Now this bigger piece might have been better with the bigger brush. Here, let's see if we can use that and see if we can blend some of this out a little bit, because I'm seeing some funky spots on here I'm not enjoying, and I think it's because of the smaller brush hitting that paper and it's just soaking in. So we'll do it this way. That doesn't mean you need 2 brushes. You just gotta practice with what you got. These little brushes are kind of new to me, so I'm still learning how to use them. All right, so with that being said, let's go back in and we'll just kind of go with the bases here and add a little bit of darkness, shadows, folds, you know, stuff like that. That's where I want the dark. We don't want it to be all flat one color, right? So there's lots of tutorials how to use these oxides and inks for sure. But just, you know, some helpful tips that I've learned along the way. You only need 1 color to start. That's it. That's it. Get your favorite. Get something that brings you joy. For me, I would start with a brown. I feel like it's something that I use every single day. And it's funny because I don't have very many brown colors, but I use it every day. Every day. Okay, I think that's beautiful. Now this would go back up. Let's see. We could put it back maybe in here. I feel like I need to make this darker with that being back there. What do you guys think? You think so? I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. The little engine that could. Just a little engine. Come on, little guy. Get darker. Darker, 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 darker. This is where I want to get out another ink pad so badly, but I'm not going to because I challenged myself. And I'm sticking with it. There we go. Okay, so we got a good start. Do I have anything else in here that I want to use back there? I think I would like to use, there's like a little, not a maple leaf, but this one I think would be nice back up in here. I'm calling it a maple leaf. I don't think it is, but it's whatever. I don't know that it has a name. Let's use the bigger brush to start. And I'm looking at my tones back here. We're going to put some darkness on this one too, but I don't need it to be too dark. We'll go right up the middle here. Kind of blend that out. And probably just around the edges a little bit more. Super cute. Okay, I think we've got a garden. I think we've got enough. Let's start putting it together. Okay, we're going to start with this stem and flower. And hopefully my glue is going to cooperate today. So die cuts are a great addition to your junk journal. There's so many things you can do with them. I mean, this is just one example. There are so many bazillion examples to use die cuts. You just want ones that bring you joy and that you can see in your journal. You know, does it make sense? Can you use it more than once? That is a big thing that I learned about die cuts. I've got so many that I've never actually even used because I bought them thinking, oh, that'd be great for this project. And then it took so long to get them that I moved on. And I thought, what am I ever going to do with these now? Buy something that you will use more than once. It's a waste of money not to use it more than once, guys. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. You know, our supplies are fun, but make sure that you can use it more than once. And if you're not sure, put it in the cart and don't purchase it just yet. Think about it. Take your time. Think about it. There's no rush. I know myself and probably many of you have wasted money that way and thought you were going to use something. It's like, oh man, why did I buy this? I just can't see it in all my projects, or more than just the one. And I know that I'm not alone in that. So we'll be smart about it. My hand is shaking this morning. Why? Why in the world? Let's pick this one up just a little bit. Make sure that he can be seen against that lighter color. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I'll put this one kind of back in here. Although now I'm not so sure I want it in there. Let's see what he looks like. I want my little mushroom to be the star. I don't know that I need this one, do I? Oh, he's cute there. All right, we'll put him there. But I feel like his color's off. Let's add a little bit more dark. I think we need a little bit more dark on this guy, just to make him stand out a little bit more against the colors that we already have. The shading will still show because there's more pigment in that section, but just, yeah, I think that's better. Put him right there. Now, if I was putting this on a card, I would probably put some glue and stuff underneath these to make them pop up just a little bit. But because it's going in a journal, I'm not going to do that because that would just add too much bulk. So I'm not going to do that here. And we'll put this guy, let's show off that leaf a little bit more. Let's put him right here. And then this piece will fit right back in. So we've got some die cutting done. We'll put that right back where it came from. Right in there. And smoosh it down. My nails are all stained brown. That's okay. That's because I love what I do. I don't mind. And then this one, I think I didn't glue it all the way down so that I could cut it if I needed to, and I need to. There we go, guys. That is so pretty. That's just with one color. One color. It doesn't take all the colors of the rainbow. So just go pick one if you haven't started already, or get your favorites. Get one of each, maybe, you know, a brown one, a red one, blue one, and yellow one. Those are your primary colors plus a brown. You can do just about anything with that. You can mix those colors to make all the colors in the rainbow. That's a great place to start. But I wish I would have moved that over just a little bit to offset this one, but I'll probably end up trimming those anyway. But I love how that turned out. Do you? I love it. So that is the die cut portion. Let's talk about, okay, we talked about how to do coffee dyeing. I think I've done coffee dyeing on my channel before, now that I'm thinking about it, but check that out. You can also dye with tea. You can use Easter egg dyes, which I plan to do soon. I haven't done it yet. I just got my Easter egg dye in the mail yesterday, so I'm going to play with that. I've been watching, I think it's Natasha Foote from Treasure Books. I think she did some Easter egg dyeing. I think it was her. I don't know if it was an old video or a new video, but I saw her do it and I thought, ooh, that sounds like so much fun. But let me show you what when I talk about the oxide sprays, let me kind of show you a sample. If you've never done this before or tried it or heard about it, the oxides are really, really fun. But I need a piece of paper to do this on. It's not going to be too crazy. I'll just use this white one. Okay, just use this clean white one because it's never been messed up before. And let's just take this brush and we're only going to use this one dye. We're not going to use, or this oxide, this color, because if I start getting other ones out, then we're just going to confuse things. So I'm just going to kind of do this. Just kind of do this. And then, you know what? I'm going to even take a stencil because it'd be fun to show with a stencil. And, you know, we could even do this. We could even take this and do this way. This ink pad isn't very wet, so it's not really doing some things, but that's okay. We'll go over here and we'll put some stencil over all of this. We're just having fun now. We're just having fun. But this is what it takes, guys. Just play with it. See what kind of response or reactions you get from your inks and from your tools that you get. And it's a lot of fun. And all of this paper, even though it doesn't make sense right now, can be used in my journal. I can cut this up later. So it's not going to go to waste. Okay. So one of the things you can do, take your water and you can, I don't know if this bottle will do it because it's very squirty. But can you see the color changing? Can you see the color changing where it's wet? That's because it's doing magic. It's reacting. It's doing a chemical reaction with that water, and you can see how it's pooling, getting darker colors around it. And then you can take your towel, watch, and it's going to lift some of that color, that water up. It's going to leave water spots. I'm going to show you closer in just a second. And you're going to get different colors and different interesting shapes and stuff in there. Can you see that? You see how it's done it here too? When it dries, it's going to stay that color. So you can do really fun, interesting things on this. You can do layers and layers. You can take this water bottle, for instance, and get bigger spots. You can make a whole mess on here. I mean, there's so much you can do. But it responds and reacts with that water in such a different way. And makes it really, really cool and interesting. We'll let that just sit for just a minute. We'll let it sit and do its thing. You can see it's kind of bleeding a little bit here. It's kind of making some brighter color. We can start dabbing it up. Look how light that came out. Look at that. It's totally different color. You can use paper towel if you prefer. You don't have to use a fabric cloth here. Ooh, that's cool. All right, can you see how it turned, how these colors turned right in here with that water? Oops, there's a lot more water there. And you can see in here, it lifted some of that out. You can see the water rings. You can see how it messed it here, did in here. You can see the water spots here. There's just a lot to see there. And it just really makes it interesting, doesn't it? So that is why I would pick the oxides over the, well, it depends. Then on the other side of that, I will say that the oxides do tend to have a chalkiness to them. So if you don't like that, and that's part of what makes them magical, is that chalkiness, and they're a little bit more opaque. So if you want a cleaner, crisper design, then I would go with the inks. But if you want something that's going to be more mixed media-ish, that you can do a little bit different things, this is the way to go. I guess it really does depend on what your expectations are for your ink. If you're going to be stamping and stuff, you probably want to go with the ink, not the oxides. I stamp with my oxides also because that's what I have. But yeah, a lot of fun. So distressed ink and coffee dyeing and die cuts. These are all fun ways to add to your junk journal. Simple, easy, same word, I know. But look, the results, they're delectable. How about that for a D word? All right, you guys, on that note, I'm going to close it for today. Today's going to be a fun day. I hope that you will get out and do some crafting, do something that brings you joy, and most of all, just spend it with your loved ones and let them know how much you care. Thank you guys for being here. I love you all and appreciate you each and every day. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.